What is going on, everyone? Thrift Barringer here, and you're watching another edition of the Calvary Coaches Show on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And we have a great guest coming up here in just a moment. Right now, we are getting ready because coming up here in about 30 minutes at 6 o'clock, Calvary Christian girls are going to be hosting FPD, a dominant program out of the GIAA. Looking forward to broadcasting that game at 6. And then at 7:30, we have Harris County and Calvary. So stay right here on this channel. As soon as we're done with this interview and with this coaches show, we're already going to be streaming basketball. So do not go anywhere. All right. As we always do, I want to say thank y'all so much. Thank you to Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC. Also, thank you to Gordy Eye Care and all our sponsors, including Pepsi, for being supporters of what we do here at Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And without further ado, we're going to bring on a special guest. He is the head girls basketball coach and head of school at Calvary Christian, Coach Jonathan Norton. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Coach, before we even get into the basketball season, I like this to be like a State of the Union, if you will, because we haven't had you on since early in the year. Talk about how this first year has been taking over the school. How do you feel like the school year is going? Just give us an up-to-date on what's happening at Calvary.
It's been a blessing, Thrift. Everybody on our team here at Calvary, from the leadership team and administration down, faculty, staff, students, and parents, have been extremely welcoming and welcomed me with open arms. And so we're off to a great start of the school year. 4 months in, we got just over 880 total students. So a lot of things going on this campus, a lot of excitement. And so it's just been a blessing to be a part of.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Coach Norton. And, you know, looking at Calvary, it is a growing school. The fact that you just said 880, we're almost at 1,000 students. What makes Calvary so special? Why has this been such a growing school these last couple of years?
Well, I think there's a few things that come in play. First and foremost, you know, we are committed to teaching a biblical worldview. We're not just a Christian school and environment, but we're Christian in principles on what we do day to day operationally in our classrooms, servant leadership, that the importance we put on that. And it's just a loving atmosphere on our campus. It's a safe, secure campus. Students know when they walk our halls, they're going to get greeted by older students, by teachers that may not even be teaching them in the classroom. And whether it's in the fine arts, in a play or in a choir concert, or on the athletic field or court, they're going to be supported by the entire campus and the entire Calvary community, the church, the gardens at Calvary, our Calvary community living, our apartments. And so it's just a campus-wide culture that's loving and Christ-like. And so people want to be a part of that. And there's obviously academic excellence as well. And so we're graduating seniors that are moving on and going to colleges of their choice, and they're thriving when they get out past high school.
Yep, and it is a school that is also got great athletics, and you're the head girls coach, and this is your favorite time of year, Coach. You know,
That's right.
you love basketball season. You couldn't stay away. This is year two. All right, we kind of recapped year one last year. You had a great season, but you've had to replace some people. Let's talk about the offseason a little bit. You felt like you got the work and the development of your players as you head into the season now.
Yeah, the all season was key. A lot of emphasis on just basic fundamentals because we have so many young kids. Conditioning, teaching just kind of our core fundamentals of defensive principles, and then what our goals are on offense as far as moving the ball and making sure we all understand our role. Some people are better ball handlers, some are better passers, some are better shooters. So just understanding and accepting those roles, and seeing how those young players develop and grow in those roles. They may take on a different role about halfway through the season as they become a little more confident. And so we're excited. We only have 3 seniors, and one of those is new, and Jade Irvin. And so, but we still are led by Michaela Reed, our point guard, who just kind of does a little bit of everything for us.
Yeah.
She handles the ball, she distributes it, she does most of our scoring. And so, but we've got some good young players that she's played with at the middle school level that are moving up into the varsity level that are just tremendous athletes as well. So we think we have a really good mix of just a few seniors at the top, a couple of juniors, and then a lot of young kids, 8th grade, 9th graders alike.
And one of those seniors is your daughter, Anna Norton. I got to ask, man, and I do stuff for the GIAA. I was talking to some of the football coaches. They have their own sons playing on their team, and even being the quarterback. Anna is an integral part of this team. How much do you love coaching your daughter? You've been coaching for a long time. I know this got to be special.
Yeah, it's a blessing. As you know, my background when I was coaching at the college level, I missed some of those opportunities when she first started playing upward basketball. I wasn't able to be
Yep.
at all those. So to now be a part of what she's done in middle school and in high school at Calvary as a dad and a coach is just a really special opportunity. She's one of the rare kids, if you will. She actually enjoys being coached by her father and her mother. Mother does a lot of help with her track and cross country, which are her primary sports. And she likes having us around and giving her instruction, and it allows us the times to go to the gym, even as a family, and work on shooting. And Anna's going to play a key role for us this year as a key spot up shooter on the perimeter. And she's one of our better defenders. And because of her track and cross country background, she can run all day as well. But it is a special opportunity to have it as a family affair.
We are talking with the head of school. Is it head of school? Is that your official title
That's
at
what they call
Calvary? At Jonathan Norton, who is also the head girls basketball coach, as Ebay mentioned, Hall of Fame coach at Columbus State for many years. Coach, you had your first game last week, and it was a learning experience. We don't say losses. We say learning experiences. Right. You took on a good Springwood team out of the AISA in Alabama. What did you learn about your team last week? Still early in the season, and still a lot of things you want to improve on.
Well, first and foremost, what created a loss as our learning experience was we just didn't shoot the ball well. So we knew we had to go back into practice and do a better job as coaching staff as putting our kids in game speed situations, getting them used, especially those young ones, getting them used to shooting with a hand in their face, maybe a little faster than they're used to practicing. And so we really had to emphasize game speed in all drills. So that was first and foremost, because really the bad shooting created the overall bad form. We did some good things defensively. Yep. Now we learned a hard lesson. We had a young lady that we went up against at Springwood that just started doing anything she wanted to do, and we tried the box and one and some of those things, but we hadn't prepared enough. We didn't practice boxing one enough. We didn't practice denying the ball to a really good player enough, and so we've had to work on those things in practice and make sure they're prepared for anything. If another player on another team gets a hot hand, then we've got to make some adjustments and do what's necessary to slow them down. And then on offense, if we are struggling shooting the ball, how can we either speed the game up to get some easy buckets in transition? How can we get to the free throw line? How can we get better shots? And so we still feel confident about this team. We still feel like we can compete with just about anybody we step on the court with, and we'll obviously have our opportunity to prove that tonight in a very good FPD team.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that game here in just a little bit. Coach, I did want to get kind of your philosophy with this team and way basketball is changing, Coach. I mean, it's about shooting a lot of threes. Are you adapting to the three-point shooting? I feel like the 15-foot and in is kind of lost. It's a lost art in basketball nowadays. How do you go about it in implementing some of your stuff from the college level, but then also trying to stay simple too, because you're dealing with 12, 13, 14, 15, all the way to 18-year-olds here that are still learning the game of basketball?
Right. A really good question. And first is we have to identify who is a quality three-point shooter on our team. And we talked about that in the locker room after our first game when we took 20 plus and didn't make any. And we talked about that's too many. We need to attack, regardless of what you see on TV with the Golden State Warriors and everybody else, UConn Huskies on the women's side, is we have to attack the basket first. We have to attack the paint, whether it's a post entry or off the dribble, attacking downhill off the dribble and work inside out, and then identify who on our team. And I think we have two quality three-point shooters, Michaela Reed and Jade Irvin. And the others need to take two steps in and shoot and emphasize that 15 to 17-foot range, including my own daughter, as we talked about. It's okay to take 2 or 3 steps in. If that increases your percentage by 10 or 15%, that makes a big difference. And so we want to attack the basket and the paint first, work our way out. And then those that can shoot the three, we want to get them shooting those threes in rhythm, on balance, and after we've moved the ball and moved the defense a little bit. And then the other players do what you do best. When that ball's kicked out to you, 15 foot, 17 foot, knock it down and have confidence doing so.
And coach, also early in the year, you know this as a great coach, you got to define roles, and it takes time. It takes games. And I think everyone needs to understand it takes everyone thinks they know what they're going to do for the team, but eventually they may have a different role halfway through the season. So I know you're still trying to figure out subbing and rotation patterns and all that here early in the season.
That's exactly right. And playing what position, and some players pick up playing multiple position and learning the plays and the offense from multiple positions. Some struggle, so we try to simplify that and keep them in one position, which then all that comes into play when you're trying to figure out your substitution pattern, your rotation, because you may have one young lady who could play either guard position. You may have one that can only play one. You may have one that can play multiple posts, the 4 or the 5, but maybe one only can play the 5. So that definitely comes into play, and we figure out who can play against certain teams. Some are more effective against a man-to-man defense when they're playing offense. Some are more effective against the zone. So all of that comes into play, and it's going to take us a good 3 to 5 games, probably minimum, to figure that out.
No doubt about it. We are with Coach Jonathan Norton. It's the Calvary Coaches Show here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. As he made mention, we got a game coming up here in just a little bit. Cannot wait. And we're going to talk about FPD. But I got to ask you one more question, Coach, because I love getting into your brain. I was just at a Little League basketball game, and I'm seeing 7, 8, 9-year-olds jack up with all their might three-pointers that they can't even – I mean, it's throwing. It's not shooting. It's throwing the basketball. In your opinion – and I will say my opinion so you can understand where I'm coming from. I think that's a bad shot, and I don't think kids should be shooting threes until they're strong enough to do that. That's what my dad taught me. My granddad taught me. What do you believe at the young level on how to teach kids the game of basketball?
I totally agree with you. Think back to my high school coach wouldn't let any of us, and middle school coach, we weren't allowed to shoot the 3 in the middle school. We weren't allowed to shoot the 3 until high school as a freshman, and even then, we had to shoot a certain percentage in practice before they would let us pull the trigger in the game. Right. And so when you start talking about elementary age kids and even early middle school, that 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, they need to be learning proper shooting form, whether it's layups on either side of the basket, whether it's jump shots in the lane or jump shot from 15 feet. Those are the things you need to emphasize, proper shooting form. And as they get stronger and they develop, then they can start moving back. But yeah, everybody watches it on TV, and that's what they want to do. They go out. You're right. They throw it and they don't shoot it, and they don't shoot a very high percentage when they do throw it. So I think it makes for ugly and sloppy basketball, and it really can help. It can hurt and kind of stunt the growth, if you will, of basketball players at a young age, because then they're underdeveloped in ball handling, passing, or just finishing around the basket. Because the first thing they do when they go pick up a ball is they go behind the 3-point line instead of going to the basket and working their way, again, inside out. So I couldn't agree with you more. I think we need to focus on fundamentals of ball handling, defense, rebound, all those things, and then proper shooting form. And what does that shooting range look like? What is your strength level that you can use the proper shooting form?
And you want to develop good habits. Bad habits happen when you're throwing up 3-pointers that you're not even close to. I'm glad we're on the same page. I was like, am I thinking right? Let me ask Coach Norton. I think he would know better than anybody on how do we develop young basketball players. Let's talk about FPD. That's who you play here in just a little bit. They're a really good program out of the GIAA. Their coach has been to the semifinal and made deep runs in the last couple of years in the playoffs. They're undefeated to start this year. I know they replaced some seniors from last year, but what are you looking forward to with this matchup? It's a big one.
Yeah, I think the word that comes to mind with them, watching them on film, I went back and watched. They lost in the state championship game last year in the GIAA, but it was very close. And then I've watched their 2 games they've played this year, and the word that comes to mind is just physical. They really they're one of the few teams that guards you man to man or woman to woman, if you will, pretty much the entire game. And that can be full court where they run and jump you a little bit and trap you, or it can just be getting in your shorts and really pressuring the ball and being physical with you, physical on screens, physical on cuts, if you drive it to the lane. And so we have got to be really tough with the basketball. We got to protect it. We got to space the floor. We got to set good, solid screens. And we got to shoot the ball when we're open, and we got to shoot it with confidence, knowing that they're going to be running at us. And so that's the first thing that comes to mind. And then on the offensive end, they have multiple players who can score the basketball. They can spot shoot it from 3. They love to throw it inside to their big kid. And so we'll have to be obviously on our game defensively, keeping them out of the lane, keep giving them one shot and getting rebound, and then contesting without fouling on the perimeter and making it, hopefully cutting down on their shooting percentage from outside.
Yeah, Coach Doug Wasden. I remember that coach doing the state championship last year. He's senior. He had one daughter who was a senior last year, was fantastic. He's got another daughter that plays this year in the post. She's pretty good too. So it's going to be a tough matchup, but I cannot wait. This is to everyone in the community, not just the Calvary community, but everyone out there, about why they need to come out and support and how much fun it's going to be to watch Calvary basketball. Not only your game, but the boys' game too tonight.
Yeah, both teams play a fun style of basketball to watch. It's a great atmosphere. We have great support from not just our parents, but from our students. And so please come out and join us. You'll enjoy the product on the court for sure.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. Good luck. And we will be talking to you throughout the season, man. And we'll have a great season all year long.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That is Coach Jonathan Norton from Calvary Christian, the head of school. We appreciate him for joining us, and it's always been a lot of fun. Make sure, again, coming up in just a little bit, we got FPD versus Calvary, and then we got Harris County versus Calvary here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We'll see you next time on the Calvary Coaches Show.